Welcome back to Timeless Messages from the I Ching. This is Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. So the question for this particular video is, what are the most important messages for the viewers at the time they find this video? Most important messages for the viewers at the time they find this video. And whatever time that may be, in 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 years, whenever you find this, your inner light, your divine, eternal self has guided you here. And these are the timeless messages to assist you on your path. So without further ado, the hexagram that came up is number 6, conflict. If you'd like to rest, relax, do the dishes, drive home from work, whatever you happen to be doing, I'll begin the interpretation. If you have a moment to rest and close your eyes and take some deep breaths and have some stress reduction, that's always helpful as well. So here we go. Conflict. Conflict means not to love. That's an interesting statement. Conflict means not to love. Okay, so number 6, conflict. The upper trigram, the creative heaven, whose image is heaven, has an upward movement. The lower trigram, Kan, water, in accordance with its nature, tends to go downward. Thus the two halves move away from each other, giving rise to the idea of conflict. The attribute of the creative is strength, and the attribute of the abysmal is danger and guile, guile being deceptiveness. Where cunning has force before it, there is conflict. And cunning is clever trickery or deception. So if there is clever trickery or deception with energy or force, then there is conflict. A third indication of conflict in terms of character is presented by the combination of deep cunning within, or deceptiveness or trickery within, and fixed determination outwardly. So strength outwardly, determination outwardly, and trickery within, deception within. And a person that has this type of character will certainly be quarrelsome. Judgment, conflict, you are sincere, and you are being obstructed. A cautious halt halfway brings good fortune. Going through to the end brings misfortune. It furthers one to see the great man. It does not further one to cross the great water. To see the great man or the great woman would be someone who you look up to, who is embodying sage-like qualities. And when it says it does not further one to cross the great water, this means great undertakings should not be attempted at this point. Conflict develops when a person feels themselves to be in the right and runs into opposition. If a person is not convinced of being in the right, opposition leads to craftiness or high-handed encroachment, but not to open conflict. What is high-handed encroachment? Well, I looked it up. Here it is. High-handed encroachment is having or showing no regard for the rights, concerns, or feelings of others. Intrusion on a person's territory or rights. If a person is entangled in a conflict, their only salvation lies in being so clear-headed and inwardly strong that they are always ready to come to terms by meeting the opponent halfway. To carry on a conflict to the bitter end has evil effects, even when a person is in the right, because the hostility is then perpetuated. It is important to see how the great person, that is, an impartial person whose authority is great enough to terminate the conflict in a friendly way or assure a just decision. So in times of strife, crossing the great water is to be avoided, such as you're not here to accomplish big things right now, crossing the great water. That is, dangerous enterprises are not to be begun, because in order to be successful, they require a unity of forces, a joint unity of forces, and conflict within weakens the power to conquer danger without. So conflict within can also mean internally there's a conflict that you're having, and this can lead to external conflicts, or at the very least, danger outside yourself. Oftentimes conflict develops within us and then manifests outwardly in our interactions with others. The image, heaven and water, go their opposite ways, the image of conflict. Thus, in all their transactions, the superior person carefully considers the beginning. The image indicates that the causes of conflict are hidden in the opposing tendencies of the two trigrams, the creative heaven and the abysmal water. Once these opposing tendencies appear, conflict is inevitable. To avoid conflict, therefore, everything must be taken carefully into consideration in the very beginning. If rights and duties are exactly defined, or if in a group the spiritual trends of the individuals harmonize, the cause of conflict is removed in advance. And I would also say that if the conflict is originating internally, if this conflict is found in germ or seed form within yourself, then it's very good to try to get on top of this conflict at the very beginning so that it doesn't need to manifest in an outer conflict with someone else. So if you can put this internal conflict to rest, maybe you're having a psychological mental argument with someone, or you're practicing to have an argument with someone, someone that you may be seeing in the near future or have to see once in a while for various reasons. And the two energies that you both have are not necessarily in agreement. So in this situation, you want to try to really guard and watch your thinking processes so that you don't get drowned in some sort of psychological conflict. You're not practicing or rehearsing a conflict before you see this person or have this interaction with this person. So if you can put this internal conflict to rest within yourself, then that will stop the energy so that the external interaction with someone else need not go into a conflict. So all of this points to many different possibilities. There could be an internal conflict that you've been recently or are soon to enter into. Perhaps watch your thought process and see if you're cultivating seed thoughts that are having internal arguments with someone or others. Also, you may be in an interaction with somebody who the tendency is for your views or your interactions to not be in harmony, to not be in an agreement. And this is important for you to protect yourself from this going toward a very conflicted situation, contentious and conflict. This is not a good thing to enter into because hostility is continued or perpetuated, and it's not good to carry on a conflict to the bitter end because this will have very negative effects, even if you're in the right. So try not to engage in conflict. Try to end things at the very beginning if you can within yourself or within the interaction as amicably as possible. So if you're dealing with someone else, it's very important in the very beginning to understand everything, take it all carefully into consideration in terms of what are the duties that are expected of you and this other person, what are the rights that are expected of you and the other person, and how can you define these things fully and carefully so that conflict can be eradicated. It doesn't have to get to a extreme level. So if you can define these things, take these things carefully into consideration, the duties, the rights of each person, then you can move forward and you don't have to have the dangerous and negative effects of a conflict. Ideally, you want to have a friendly resolution of any type of energy that's moving toward conflict, so that the conflict can be erased, disappear, terminated, before it creates a bunch of negativity for you and this other person or other persons. One way in which to do this is to always pay attention to your own thoughts. Where are your thoughts leading you? Are you practicing or rehearsing conflict between you and another person? Are you avoiding particular topics that need to be discussed? Are the forces between you and another person needing to have greater balance, greater harmony? Is there a way to do that? Is there a way to simplify and harmonize the interaction between the two of you, or if there's more than two, between the group of you? And another perspective for the resolution of potential conflict is to go within to your own inner light, to your higher power, to your impartial, superior person within you, whose authority is strong and great enough to allow a friendly resolution between you and this other person, or between you and a number of other persons. You could even ask for your higher power to intercede and to ask for assistance in allowing this friendly resolution for this particular conflict to manifest as soon as possible, to assure peace and the end of any bitterness or hostility that may have been caused. So getting in tune with your inner essence, your divine light, and your higher power, your creator energy, and asking for intercession, for help, praying for guidance and help, and allowing yourself to be moved and directed according to that divine wisdom. So these are the messages I have for you. These may be aspects that are coming into your life right now, or that you have been just recently entertaining some thoughts that appear to have the seeds of conflict within them. Pay attention to your thought process, monitor it at all times, and at the very beginning, see if you can carefully consider the resolution to this so that you do not have to take it to the bitter end. Thanks for listening, and take care.